Josh, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. Now, you've been a student here for about 6 months, which is pretty
Yeah.
wonderful. How has that 6 months been for you?
Oh, I tell you what, it's been a journey. I thought I'd done all my discovery and self-work before I joined the school. But the knowledge I picked up from day one right up until some of the more advanced trainings that I've done, holy hell, it's a roller coaster of wonderfully powerful realizations and then contrasts to how life used to be.
That's fantastic. So, tell me a little bit more about that. So, you've done lots of personal development. So, you've obviously you're not necessarily new to the world of transformation, and then you came to ICI, and it's been completely different. What's been different? What's really stood out for you?
Well, I think the main thing that stood out is the clarity that I've gained from the structure that the school's provided. So a lot of the things that I've learned, whether it's from the initial trainings or the more advanced stuff, these were things that I was already applying or already doing in some way or another in my life. However, coming to the school has given me the structure and the overview of not just how it can help me, but how I can then apply that, teach that, and coach other people to come to their own truths and their own realizations.
Wonderful. So good. And so tell me a little bit about your journey of how you got here. Now, I know a little bit about this, but for everyone else who doesn't know you, where did you come from? How did you
Mm.
get to the point where you said, I want to become a coach? I'm going to study with the International Coaching Institute.
Well, it's been a long journey for me. I'd say about 6 years of really difficult trial and error. I had some rough times. I was dealing with some mental issues in my return from Afghanistan. Was suicidal, had a marriage breakdown, didn't know how to be a parent, didn't know who I was, and was just completely lost. And one day I had a pretty hard decision to make, and it was either check in or check out. And that moment, I just decided to look inside myself and find one reason to keep going. And that was the kind of the spark that started it all off. And every day I just found one more reason, and then through years and years, that turned into some really hard but really profound self discovery. And as I kept climbing and breaking through these limiting beliefs of my own, I got to the point where it was I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. I wanted to find some way to give back, not just to the community that helped me, but to anyone who's going through their own personal hell. And one day I was folding my washing and then just had this huge emotional breakdown, crying my eyes out. But it wasn't tears of sadness. It was a moment of pure clarity. And it was in that moment of pure clarity, I had this emotional release. And the idea came to me to become a life coach and dedicate my life to helping people realize that there's so much more to who they are. And all they have to do is understand how they operate. And then they can operate themselves in any way they want to get any results they want in life. That's when I started looking at coaching. Along come the school, ICI, the wonderful community, everyone that's helped me along the way, yourself in multiple trainings. And here I am doing things I never imagined I would do.
Wow, what a story. That's just,
Mm.
it's really big. A lot of people, um, I think will resonate with the challenge, right? So many people that I speak to
Mm.
before they become coaches, they've been through some stuff. Not everyone. Some people have a life that's kind of a little bit unscathed, but I think the majority have been through a trauma or been through a challenge or been through a breakup or been through a loss.
Mm.
You had quite some significant challenges. Like I can't imagine what it would be like to have come home from a war zone and to manage yourself through that. And I've met other people that have served for us here in Australia, and they tell me that there's not enough support. I've had people that have come here
Mm.
that have gone back now and that have become kind of coaches, helping people transition out of that. When you were going through all of your challenge, when you were on your own, right?
Mm.
What was that like to be in that dark space and then think, man, I've got to find something to kind of get myself through it?
It was tough. It was really tough. And you hit the nail on the head when you said the word alone, because I felt like I was completely isolated, completely alone. I had family, I had friends, I had loved ones that cared for me. But because I was so lost, I lost the ability to care for myself. Therefore, I couldn't accept or appreciate love from anyone because I had no love for myself. So
Wow.
my mindset was, this love isn't legit. How can anyone love me if I don't love me?
Wow.
And I lost that love because I lost the understanding of who I was through spending too much time focusing on a potential worst case scenario in the future that I'd created, or reliving those past experiences that I'd already gone through. So it was tough, but to look back on it now, there's not one single day I would change.
Yeah.
There's not one thing I would change about any of the experiences I've had, because it's through this journey of self-awareness that I've come to the point now where I intentionally revisit my past experiences. But what I learn from them now that I've cultivated a strong, positive mindset, and
Mhm.
especially since the school has taught me how to navigate those other parts of myself, what I learn every time I remember, it's beautiful, it's powerful. And I'm slowly, through gratitude and understanding, I'm rebranding these past experiences to be something that's no longer traumatic, but something I can look back on and be so thankful for the fact that it's happened. And where it's led me and the opportunities that have opened since I allowed myself to have that mindset switch, it's phenomenal. And where am I going to be in 2 years' time? Who knows? Where am I going to be in 10 years' time? I don't know, but it's going to be damn high. And I can't wait to get to those experiences.
I love that. I can really hear that you've been able to take the challenges that you've been through, and they've become your motivator now
Yeah,
to help other people. I imagine that in a way, you knowing what it feels like to feel so alone has given you this context to say, well, I don't want anyone to feel like that. Is that one of the things that
yeah,
drives you now in your business?
yeah, definitely, definitely. And having an understanding of the relatability of people. And one of the biggest things I've come to realize is that everyone has their deepest and darkest hole. And while the experiences that may have got them there was different, and the depths might be different in comparison, to each person, that's the darkest they've ever been.
Right.
Now, because I've been to my darkest, I can relate to anyone who's been there too, regardless of how they got there or what experiences have gotten them into that situation. It's the emotion that I can relate to. And
Mm.
that's something that ICI really, really helped me understand in some of the really advanced trainings was, coach the superficial, you're going to get superficial results. But if you coach the emotion, coach the core of the problem, well, everything that is related to that just fades away.
Yeah.
And everyone can relate to an emotion, regardless of the experiences that have been there.
Now, when you first joined the ICI, when you first said, "All right, I'm doing the course, I'm in," what was that moment like for you? Were you like, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" Were you confident? Did you doubt yourself? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so what got me over that initial overwhelm was I just reached out to the community, and the online community that comes with this school is phenomenal. And not just because everyone encourages your own uniqueness. Everyone is their own unicorn, so everyone is free to be 100% authentic, which is so rare to find in life. And it was through following a few people and watching some of the posts that come up on the community page that I was able to get that help with my overwhelm. And there was a member that was running a short course at that time specifically to deal with overwhelm. Jumped on it, didn't cost me a thing, but what it gave me was so much value, and then the structure to take me out of overwhelm. Now that I understand overwhelm, I can ride the edges of it without slipping into it. And honestly, it's one of the many things about this community. If you have any problems in your life, coaching related or not, there's so many people who are just so willing to help, that help is exactly what you're going to get.
So good. It's so good. Now, you're 6 months in, which is a really small amount of time. We like to interview people that have been here for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and sometimes more. And then we also like to hear from people that are, 6 months. So, just for anyone watching, you're thinking about joining the program. So, Josh has literally enrolled 6 months ago, started his coaching journey. But the way that we do our courses here at ICI is they are a mixture of learning and then actually doing inside that period. Now, what have you achieved that you're proud of in the last 6 months?
Oh, do we have enough time on this interview? I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. So I think I started taking paying clients within, I don't know if I can say this. I think I've done less than 10 hours of coaching pro bono coaching and through the triad system. And then I thought, you know what, I'm ready for this. And I had the backing of the school. I had the support if I needed it. So I started taking paid clients almost straight away. And I think now I'm only up to 72 hours in total, but over half of those are paid hours. So that enabled me to start bringing in a little bit of an income, which enabled me to renovate my office downstairs and create a better working space. And then that allows me to pay for my own coaches and all those extra things. So a small thing like just jumping in, getting started, even if you're scared, has opened up so many doors and so many windows. Through all the teachings from the school, I'm developing and almost finished developing my first program. I collaborated with some coaches all over Australia, all over the world. I've done a few public speaking gigs, and that's an area that I'm stepping out into more and learning more and more about myself with every training and then with every coaching session. And the wonderful thing is, if I ever have a question, the answers are they're within the school, within the community. So I'm never sitting there worried like, oh, what do I do next, or how can I apply this? It's all right there.
And so, did you ever think that you could have achieved all of that when you were overwhelmed inside your first week when you first?
No, I almost thought about asking for a refund.
Wow, how's that? So from that initial point of I don't think I can, through receiving the support and receiving the guidance and being part of the community, it's pretty awesome, isn't it? What you've achieved.
It is.
Think about where you'll be in 10 years.
I can't. I honestly, I say I can't wait for 10 years, but at the same time, like I really enjoy every experience. And it's through the enjoyment of this step that the next step reveals itself to me. So yeah, bring on 10 years, but mate, take your time. I'm enjoying the hell out of this.
Now, you've achieved so much inside a short period of time to come from someone who was really at the lowest of the lows that you could have been at in your life, with your relationship with you and others, family, and then to get to a point where you decided, you know what, I'm gonna work on me, but now I'm gonna help other people. To start a course 6 months in, you're already making money from it. You're already helping people. What would you like to say to someone who's watching this? Because there'll be someone who's been inspired by your story right now. What would you say to someone who's thinking about starting their journey and joining the ICI?
Oh, I got to say, it's pretty simple. Don't think, just feel. All right. Just do it. Go based on your feelings. At the start, it can get overwhelming. Your thoughts will tell you maybe don't do this, and a bit of self-doubt creeps in. But if you feel like it's what you're meant to do it. You will be supported.
Good on you, Josh. Thank you so much for being here. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
No worries. I appreciate your time. Thanks very much.